What's going on, guys? And welcome back to Timeout with uSTADIUM. I'm back. Sorry I had to miss last week. Wasn't feeling all that great. Decided, hey, maybe I shouldn't sit there for an hour and listen to Nick and Frankie fight. So I said no thanks. But I'm back. We have Frankie here. We have Ryan with us this week. And we've got a lot to talk about, guys. So are you ready to get going?
I am ready to get going. My issue is this. You were out last week. Nick is out this week. That means I'm out next week.
I don't know if that's how it works.
Everyone's taking off these days. What's going on? There's no sick days. There's no paid leave out here.
I don't know if that's how it works. We'll discuss. It's a big week next week. You're not allowed. It's Super Bowl week. You're not allowed to just call in sick.
Well, aren't you going somewhere for Super Bowl? You're the one going away next week.
Word on the street is there is a Tampa Bay trip in my future. So, although I wouldn't be leaving until Friday. So I'm here Thursday. I've got my Tom Brady agenda ready to go for next week already. So I'll be
beef for Brady right there. You guys.
Yep, right there, my little wine cork holder. That's what it's for.
Brianna, Brady, Boston. I can't take it anymore, even though I love Brady. But
all the best things start with B. That's all. All right, you guys ready to get going? We have a pretty important and timely topic, number one. So the Houston Texans finally hired a head coach, and it is David Culley out of the Baltimore Ravens. And Deshaun Watson has formally requested a trade. So my question to you guys, Frankie, if you want to take this first, how bad have the McNairs and the Texans just completely messed this up?
Honestly, this whole situation's maddening. I don't ever remember in my life a quarterback of this caliber, this young, being available on the open market. I mean, Deshaun Watson is a top 5 quarterback, and there were times last year where he was playing at an elite level. How this team dropped the ball with this guy who can potentially bring you a Super Bowl at some point, and he wants out of town. You get rid of DeAndre Hopkins first. Then you're going to get rid of Watson now. I mean, the whole team just fell apart. It's pathetic what happened in Houston. To think that J.J. Watt is still there too and is still trying his best to make that team as relevant as possible. I mean, I just remember that clip with Watt walking with Watson saying, I can't believe we ruined this year for you, man. Like, I can't believe it. I mean, that's what this team's done to players. They're actually openly talking about the fact that the ownership and the coaching staff and the whole team, top to bottom, has let players down. And to let someone down like Deshaun Watson, and he's a good dude. He's not a bad dude. I've been following him on Instagram and Twitter. He's a great dude. And the fact you're letting this guy leave and you're not going to be able to replace him. I don't care if you draft Fields or Zach Wilson second. You're not going to replace Deshaun Watson. It's just not going to happen. And you're ruining a guy that's going into his 5th year. His record speaks for itself. Also, he's got a winning record in Houston. He's done amazing things, and you're going to let that guy walk. It's ridiculous. And again, it's never happened before. We've never had a quarterback at that caliber just leave. And he's going to leave. He requested a trade today, and it's over. Deshaun Watson is over in Houston. He's going to find a way out of there. He's not going to stay around.
No, he absolutely wants out. And it's ridiculous to see that they are putting everything else ahead of their franchise quarterback. You could look at, for example, just New England, God forbid, in Tom Brady's prime. Belichick did that. This whole place would have burned to the ground.
Oh, yeah.
Burned to the ground. And you could make the argument that Deshaun Watson is more important to the team just because he's their talent right now. They don't have much around him. I mean, you looked at just this year alone, how many times did he show out and then his defense just completely shit the bed and it ended up in a loss? It's absolutely just insane to me that they think that it's just not that big of a deal the way they went about this whole thing with Easterby and then bringing in Caserio and now with the head coaching hire. Like, you don't need to give him pull in that situation. He doesn't need to make decisions, but at least get the guy in there and get him in on these conversations. Listen to what he has to say. I'm sure he would have loved having Eric Bieniemy as a head coach. I feel like every team that had a head coaching opening royally fucked up by not bringing him on.
Yeah, they did. And the other thing is,
it just made the Chiefs even better because now he's more likely than not going to be with them for another year. And that's another year of dealing with the Chiefs and their high-powered offense. So what are we doing here?
Yeah, and the other thing too is you cannot have a quarterback of that caliber and not have him involved in what you're doing from a GM perspective, from a coaching perspective. What are you thinking? Like, how do the Texans think, oh, we're doing something good, we're going to have Deshaun Watson here, and we're not going to talk to him about who we should hire and what we want to do moving forward? What do you think's going to happen? I mean, I have a theory. I actually think that they don't want him around anymore, someone at the top, whether it's the ownership, whether it's somebody in some department that's got pull with the ownership. I really think they don't want him there anymore, because to completely neglect him this entire time and want him out, and force his way out, shows that there's something going on that's deeper. You don't just ignore someone and not have him in meetings and sit with you when you're trying to hire new staffers. It makes literally zero sense to me. Zero.
Yeah, I don't get it. And maybe it's Easterby pulling the strings, because he's, a snake oil salesman, basically, with his whole character coach rise to power in New England. And then however the hell he got to where he is in Houston right now, I still don't understand how he ascended to the top like he did.
Yeah,
but
I don't either.
Maybe he got rid of their head of PR, who is known throughout the league, not just in Houston, but throughout the league, at being incredible at what she does and is loved by everybody who comes in contact. You had players vouching for her. You had reporters vouching for her, coaches, everybody. And Easterby said that she didn't fit the culture. I'm sorry, what's the culture? Is the culture just being spineless jerks who want to completely make this your own thing? If you had to pinpoint anybody making these moves and kind of forcing Deshaun out, my money goes to him 100%.
Yeah, and the other thing too is he went to the playoffs the last 2 seasons. They didn't go this year, but he went. His rookie season, he didn't go. He only played 6 games. He went to the playoffs the last 2 seasons, and he played well in the playoffs if you look at his numbers, and he won a game. Like, what do you expect the guy to do? This is not a franchise that has any prowess. They're not run well. It's crazy. Splash, I'm curious to see what you think about this whole thing.
So, of course, I have a weird experience with David Culley. He's been the wide receiver coach in Baltimore for the last few seasons, and he wasn't necessarily very good at his job. Now, granted, we don't have the greatest wide receiver talent. Marquise Brown, Miles Boykin, they aren't world beaters, and he's going to have better receiving talent even if Will Fuller leaves in free agency down in Houston. But I need to take into consideration that he's fundamentally not great at his job. He was the wide receiver coach for the Chiefs the year they had 0 wide receiver touchdowns. 0 as a team. Wow. Devontae Adams had 18 this year by himself. The Kansas City Chiefs had 0 in a season with Culley as the wide receiver coach. And last year, the Ravens had the 319th most receiving yards by their unit in the decade. That's really, really bad. So he could be a great locker room guy. I'm not sure. There are some guys, like, say, Bieniemy, X's and O's might come easily to him, but he might not be a interpersonal relationship kind of guy. Culley might be that guy. And I want to trash Houston for getting a questionable wide receiver passing game coordinator, a wide receiver coach, passing game coordinator guy, but I don't know how he's going to do. We've seen guys fall flat on their face that are X's and O's types. We've seen the next McVay fail. We've seen the next McVay succeed. LaFleur up in Green Bay has been fantastic as a McVay prototype kind of guy. So I don't know what to really expect from Culley next season.
Yeah. The one thing I will say though is I'm getting a little bit nervous as a Jets fan. I am getting a bit nervous because I have a feeling Deshaun may not end up here I've been hearing some weird things, and I can't really sleep well at night. Anyway, but this is really the nail in the coffin. I'm having some issues here because if the Jets don't end up with Deshaun Watson, this offseason will really be deflating. I will say that. I want Deshaun in the Jets green and white. That is what all Jet fans want. Ask any Jet fan. We'll give up anything. You want 4 first-round picks? Take them. You want 2 and 23? Take it. I mean, we want Deshaun Watson on the NYJ, and that would make us not getting Trevor Lawrence first well worth it. It was a good thing that we didn't get the first overall pick, because if we could end up with Deshaun, that would be like the best consolation prize ever. And I want Deshaun in the green and white. So I don't know what needs to happen, but I'm starting to hear some weird things, and it's causing me to, not sleeping so hot.
So weird things that are making you not sleep at night. Are we talking about like weird things that would make me sleep better, or weird things that I probably wouldn't like either?
Weird things like me having nightmares that Splash is sleeping next to me in bed. No, I'm just kidding.
Interesting. That could mean a few different things. I like it.
Splash, you were in one of my dreams. I wouldn't call it a dream. It was more like a nightmare. No, I'm just kidding. But I love it.
Whatever you're doing.
I mean, is Zach Wilson or Justin Fields that bad? Or your boy Sam Darnold coming back, getting protected by Penny Sewell and Mekhi Becton? I think like Joe Douglas, as much as the Jets get crap for being a poorly run organization, like I think Joe Douglas knows what he's doing, and I think the Jets have both the draft capital and the potential talent on the roster even, and money in free agency too. That helps. That they can. Like they were 2-14 this year. You get a little bit of upgrade at quarterback, or just, I don't know, upgrade the pieces around Darnold, because granted, you guys have had pretty terrible position players around Darnold for the most part. It's like, I like Rashad Perryman.
Pretty terrible. That's a nice way to say it.
Oh yeah, pretty terrible. But if you get, I don't know, either you take a quarterback at 2, I guess you can trade down, or you get Penny Sewell at 2. You have another first-round pick, courtesy of Seattle. Thank you, Jamal Adams. And you have another first-round pick next year. And I trust Joe Douglas to figure out a good Jets team. Maybe not a Super Bowl Chiefs team, but I think in a couple of years the Jets can be a relevant organization for once.
Well, you do see with the new hire, Saleh is actually leading to players wanting to play here. So Deshaun Watson wants to play in New York because of a guy like Saleh that we brought in, and guys want to play for him. So that was just a great hire already, because you have players that actually for once want to play for the Jets. I mean, that was never the case, or at least since the Rex days, players did not want to come here. So now you have this guy, even if it's just him bringing in talent, it was a great hire in that regard. So we'll see how it works out with Deshaun. I'm praying that it happens, but something tells me I don't know if that'll be the case.
I don't know. How does everything turn into a Jets conversation here?
I know. And Nick's not even here, so it's just.
I know. What the hell? All right.
Well, it's supposed to talk about the Jets.
We're moving on. Question number 2. We got the Super Bowl next week, you guys. And you know who's back for the 10th time? The big 1-0. Tom Brady. Shocker. Anybody surprised? The Tom Brady Invitational. And Patrick Mahomes. Second time in 2 years, which is not to be, slept on. It's going to be a really good game, which begs the question, does this have potential to be one of the best Super Bowls we've ever seen? Brian, do you want to take this one first?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is going to be the best, pure matchup. You have a, quote, super team in Tampa, even though they have one Pro Bowler, which is a little weird to me. And then the juggernaut Chiefs that are going to win the next 10 Super Bowls. So does it really matter? It's going to be a phenomenal Super Bowl. Absolutely, changing of a guard. Brady, 6 rings, 9 appearances. This is his 10th. And, he's not going to ride off into the sunset, but I think this is the moment that Mahomes gets on that path that once in every 50 years, you have a guy that just explodes the sport. And this is the kind of game that Mahomes just says, hey, guys, I'm the best quarterback to ever play the position. And I think absolutely one of the best Super Bowl matchups ever. And I think the Chiefs have a chance at a real dynasty here.
I'm not looking forward to this Super Bowl at all. I'm not looking forward to it. Even though Tommy's back, which I knew a month ago he was going to be back in the Super Bowl. I mean, only people like Alex on the app are still hating.
Don't bring him on. Don't call him out because he's going to want to come on.
Yeah, but no, I don't know. I don't want to see the Chiefs in the Super Bowl again. I'm not into it. I'm not excited about it. I have a feeling the Chiefs might just honestly run away with it. Their offense is so good. Granted, I love watching them play, but it's Mahomes again, and I'm honestly getting sick of watching them play. I am getting sick of the Chiefs. They're the same old thing. It's like I know how great they are. Tyreek Hill coming out of here, they throw behind the back passes to this guy. It's Hardman. It's just Kelsey. I just don't want to see it again. I really don't. So I'm not that into it, to be honest. So I don't think it might be a great Super Bowl, but I still think my favorite Super Bowl, I don't know if it'll ever top it, was Steelers Cardinals when Larry Fitz had that play that you thought it was over, and then the Steelers come back with my man Santonio. Shout outs. It's my guy right there. Me and Santonio, we go way back, me and SH. But yeah, that was my favorite Super Bowl. I don't think anything will top that one. That was the play before the half when you had James Harrison getting that touchdown that probably cost the Cardinals that Super Bowl, to be honest. But yeah, that was, my opinion, the best Super Bowl ever. I don't think there's a game better than that one. So
I still will stand on the hill and die there that the 28-3 comeback is the best Super Bowl we'll ever see. And I know people are desensitized to it because it's the Patriots and everybody sick and tired of seeing the Patriots in the Super Bowl. And I'm kind of becoming sympathetic to that because with the Chiefs, I feel like it's going to be more or less the same thing. But obviously I'm rooting for Tom Brady in this matchup. I am on record of not being a Chiefs fan, not even close to a Chiefs fan. I just think that both of these teams are so good and so different. I mean, the Chiefs, like I said before, the high-powered offense. You got Tom Brady on the other side who can just pick you apart and you don't even know it until it happens. It's just, I am excited. I'm excited to watch my guy hopefully hoist number 7. I don't think it's going to be an easy game by any means necessary for either end. I am on record with saying the Bucs defense all year drove me insane in the games that I watched, but now that they finally got it together, they look unbelievable. They did, let up a few home run balls against the Packers, but you're also going against Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. I mean, you can't completely shut that down. You knew something like that was going to happen. And the pressure that they got on Rodgers, Jason Pierre-Paul, all 7 fingers.
Oh, yeah.
Coming in and just absolutely eating Aaron Rodgers for dinner. All afternoon, all night. I was stunned. I was absolutely stunned. Plus, the Bucs are getting some key pieces back from injury. I have a feeling that this is going to be an incredible Super Bowl. And I am excited to still have a little bit of an emotional attachment to it. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, Antonio Brown or Le'Veon Bell going to be a Super Bowl champ in the year that the Steelers started 11-0. That's got to be tough.
I hate people that keep mentioning that or saying that. I think it's so stupid. Antonio Brown isn't even doing anything. Like, let's be honest. What the hell is the guy doing? He didn't play last week and nobody cared. Le'Veon Bell, he still thinks he's in Miami getting robbed $500K worth of jewelry when he's calling the 911 butt naked. But how do AB and Lev, and then someone's like, oh, Bruce Arians was an offensive coach on the Steelers. Give me a break. Stop making stories out of nothing. Sorry, Holden. I love you, pal. But, dude, come on. This is such a non-story. I don't understand why people keep saying this, but
it's because the media loves the Steelers. You got to have the Steelers connection in everything. I mean, you were talking about the Steelers just a few minutes ago with Super Bowl 43 against the Cardinals. They're one of the biggest brands in the NFL, and hey, if you're a former Steeler, matters, if you will. So Antonio Brown, I think he's going to be a big factor in whether the Bucs can compete next Sunday, and if he's healthy, plays really well, I think he can be like an X factor kind of guy. And frankly, I think he's the most talented guy in that Tampa Bay locker room. Like offense, defense, Like Antonio Brown is the most talented player in that locker room. And if he's cooking on all cylinders, no one in Kansas City can guard him. I don't think any corner in the NFL can guard AB one-on-one when he's cooking. But I'm glad to see Antonio Brown in the Super Bowl, not with the Steelers. And I'm glad to see Le'Veon Bell in the Super Bowl, not with the Steelers. So exciting time for NFL fans, right?
Exciting times. And Tom Brady. And we can't just end that segment without mentioning one more time that Tom Brady's back in the Super Bowl. All right. We're moving on. The Senior Bowl. I don't know why we have the Senior Bowl on here, but we have the Senior Bowl on here. Ryan is our resident Senior Bowl expert. I couldn't tell you a damn thing. Frankie, I feel like you're in the same boat as me. So Ryan, if you want to take this segment, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So today's the last day of the Senior Bowl down in Mobile, good old Alabama. There were a handful of standouts, including Marvin Wilson, a defensive tackle from Florida State, Adi Ogundel, a defensive lineman from Notre Dame. But the man, the myth, the legend that stole the week was Quinn Miners, an offensive lineman from Wisconsin Whitewater. You may have never heard of Wisconsin Whitewater. They're a D3 school, but this is the point of the Senior Bowl. You get guys from D2 schools, FCS schools, D3 schools, and you put them on this pedestal. And, I'd never heard of Miners 3 days ago, and he has been sensational. He was a left guard in college. He's been playing center down in Mobile, and he's been clobbering interior defensive linemen. Like, pancakes galore. You're talking, let me throw up a clip here. He just demolishes football.
Boy.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that was the wrong clip.
He's huge.
Yeah, he's a beast. Oh, look at this guy.
Oh, my God.
He's incredibly physical at the point of attack, and that can be valuable. There's lots of teams in the NFL that need interior offensive line help. Hey, Baltimore might need one. But I love the Senior Bowl. It gives guys that come from smaller schools a chance to shine. Bree, Kyle Duggar.
Kyle Duggar, yep.
Out of Leonard Ryan. Adam Troutman, shout out to the Saints, kid out of Dayton. I think it's a great thing for even Van Jefferson. If he doesn't have a wonderful Senior Bowl week last year, he's probably not a second-round pick. And even last year, Justin Herbert, Jordan Love, Denzel Mims, they had great weeks, boosted their draft stock. And I love me some Senior Bowl. I might not watch it a ton, but I think it's valuable for the guys to get exposure, especially in a COVID year.
I mean, hey, I'll take any education on the matter that I can get. I'm good with it comes to the combine, and I obviously watch the draft, but the Senior Bowl is something that I've never really been into. But I mean, if there's big boys like that just absolutely running people over, maybe I'll start watching. Maybe I'll do a little more research and update my draft boards. We'll see. All right. Question 4, last one before we get into rapid fire. Phillip Rivers has called it a career. Good old Phil.
TG.
He's done.
About damn time.
That's crazy. I feel like all of my childhood quarterbacks are retiring, and if this is what getting old feels like, I don't want it at all. He called it a career. He did 1 year with the Colts and then said, you know what, I'm done. So that begs the question, in terms of above average to, I guess we'll call him above average quarterbacks, Phillip Rivers, Eli Manning. I don't know. Ben Roethlisberger, I feel like, is more than above average, but we'll throw him in the mix. Out of those 3, how do you guys rank them? Frank, you want to take this one and then I'll go?
All right, this is going to be a very unpopular opinion, like 95% of what I say. By the way, Aiden, you got beef, bro? Keep talking smack in the comments, dude. Why don't you come on the show one day? or I'll give you the address to this place, calling me hella sus and stuff. Come over here, dude. We'll have a little chat. I'm just kidding. But I'm just joking. But so yeah, I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna go Eli Manning. You gotta go with the guy who won the multiple rings. I know Ben did, but Eli was so clutch in that performance. He beat Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. Nobody did that in the Super Bowl. Only Eli did. Only Eli Manning beat Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. He's the only one. So the fact that he beat those 2 legends, although I think Brady's a legend. I don't know if Bill's there yet. He's got a little bit more work to do. But the fact that Eli beat them both, and Eli had years. You look at it. Eli had years where we thought he was elite. You can't say elite Eli without elite. Remember we used to all say that? What happened to those days? It's Eli Manning 1. It's Ben Roethlisberger 2. Ben's 2 Super Bowls, one of them was a hoax, the first one. The second one was legit. The first one was a hoax. He was all about his defense, similar to Brady's first Super Bowl. I'll give Brady, even though I love Brady. I'll say the first one was a bit of a hoax. It was a defensively based Super Bowl. So Ben's really, to me, got really 1. Eli's got 2, and Rivers, he's a far 3. He's a stat guy. He can't do it at the end. He's not clutch. It's Eli 1, it's Ben 2, and it's Rivers 3. And I'll say this. I'm putting Eli Manning in the Hall of Fame as a first ballot Hall of Famer. Ben's not to me, and he's a Hall of Famer, but he's not first ballot. And Rivers, not a Hall of Famer. Just throwing that out there.
Okay, before I give my rankings, if we're going to talk about defensive ran Super Bowls, can we at least say that Eli Manning got carried by his defense in 2007? Can we talk about that?
A little bit, but not necessarily.
And yeah, okay.
Look at that last drive, Brianna. Look at that last drive. Okay,
I refuse. I refuse.
Outside of even the Tyree catch, look at that last drive. How he just that third down to I think it was Steve Smith, the fake Steve Smith. That third down was amazing. That play. I mean, he was a 4th read or something. So Eli Manning did it all in the biggest possible games possible against arguably the best team of all time. The 2007 Patriots were the best team of all time. And he stopped the team from going undefeated. If that team went undefeated, you Boston people would never shut up about the 18-0 or 19-0, whatever it was, a 19-0. It'd be the 19-0 Patriots. They have shirts like that, by the way, down the street here in Queens. You can find 19-0 or whatever undefeated Patriots shirts. They have a few down the street here. But yeah, no, I would never hear the end of it. Eli Manning saved us all from a lifetime of Bostonians going off about this undefeated team. Please, I'm happy about this.
That's the only reason why I feel like everybody's all in on him being a first ballot Hall of Famer, because he shut us the hell up. Which, I mean, that's fine. That's fine. The whole hate us because you ain't us thing, that's okay. All right, my ranking. I've got Ben Roethlisberger first. I feel like out of the 3, he's the most talented. I feel like he's the most proven, most successful. Not only he's got the Super Bowls, but he just has more consistent winning seasons. And then I think I have Phil. I don't know.
You Phil over Eli?
And then Eli, yeah.
No love.
No love. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You don't deprive me of absolute history and then think that I'm going to give you a fair ranking. That's just not how it works.
By the way, Eli Manning got screwed the last couple of years with the Giants. So people blamed him for his lack of production. That team stinks. Have you seen them recently with Daniel Jones and whoever else is playing? They have Saquon, and DJ, and they're still not playing well. So it wasn't all Eli's fault when they were, fluttering the last, 3 or 4 years or so. They've been garbage on many sides of the ball, specifically the offensive line. So you can't really blame Eli for that. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever. All right, Ryan, your turn.
Yeah, let's go. I'm hot take. I'm going to take Phillip Rivers over Ben and Eli. And you can point out the Super Bowls. I get it. But was Eli earth-shatteringly good in those Super Bowls? No. Was Ben earth-shatteringly good in his Super Bowl wins? No. He was terrible in 2005 and was carried by Holmes in 2008. What Phil Rivers did on a consistent basis with the Chargers. This is the Chargers. This is one of the most unlucky franchises in the history of sports, let alone football. Just the consistency, week in, week out. He did his job, and frankly, there were some years that the rest of the team did their job, and then in 2010, they have the number 1 offense, number 1 defense, and the special teams is one of the worst in the history of organized anything. It just, I think the year-to-year consistency out of Rivers, I'd put him over Ben. Ben, you didn't know if he was going to play. You have these weeks he has a broken whatever. Or
He's got the walking boot on.
Yeah, he misses a week here. He misses a week there. He misses 14 games in 2019. Remind me the last time Phillip Rivers missed a game? Oh, wait, never. He's just week in, week out, professional. He's a guy I think you win with. And the only reason he didn't win 2 Super Bowls was because he wasn't in Pittsburgh, and he doesn't get the publicity of Pittsburgh, and he wasn't in New York and doesn't get the publicity of New York. And I think he has an underrated career. Yeah, he's going to go down in history as an accumulator. I get it. And he's going to go down as a loser. I get it. He's on that Warren Moon, Dan Fouts, never made a Super Bowl list. I get it. But day in, day out, Phil Rivers gave your team a chance to win. And if he doesn't have a torn ACL in the 2007 title game, we're not talking about the 18-0 Patriots. They would be the 17-1 Patriots because the Chargers probably win that football game. Wow. Oh, and then Ben 2, Eli 3. I don't think Eli was ever like a top 8, top 10 quarterback. And Ben had some years that he was like a top 5 kind of guy. Like he has deserving Pro Bowl appearances. I don't think Eli has many. I think Rivers has some deserving Pro Bowl appearances. Of course, it's hard to make the Pro Bowl when, I don't know, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. If anyone else is halfway decent in the AFC, you're screwed over. So it's either Ben or Rivers for the most part getting that third wild card. Third Pro Bowl spot. So give me Rivers.
Ryan, I think being a Ravens fan got to your head a little bit much lately. You're all about the regular season, man. That's all you're about. No playoff success. You don't even value it anymore. What happened? What happened to your Ray Lewis days? You guys actually won Super Bowls.
Okay,
what happened, man?
Now.
You're all regular season. You're looking at too many stats, man. You got to look at the bigger picture.
I absolutely value playoff performance. And say what you will, but there's a reason the Chargers didn't win the 2007 title. It's because Rivers had a torn ACL, and he played football on a torn ACL.
They were not going to win that title. Let's be honest here.
Hey, they would have beaten the Patriots, I think, that week. You can say what you will, Chargers, Giants. That would have been a great Super Bowl. Imagine that, because Eli and Rivers, of course, were traded for each other back in the 2004 draft. I think we were robbed. Like, if I'm, God, and I change one game in NFL history, I might think about changing that Chargers-Patriots AFC title game so we get an Eli Rivers clash.
Of all the games that you could change, of all the games, that's the one.
Oh no! In all honesty,
that's all right. Ryan thinks about this game probably like 15 times a day.
No, in all honesty, I would change 2018 Ravens-Chiefs. Just Mahomes doesn't complete the 4th and 9. Ravens win that game. I think the Ravens would have ended up being the 2 seed at that point. So playoff bye, Lamar would have been undefeated as a starter as a rookie. That's the honest answer. Or the Cardinals-Steelers Super Bowl. Obviously, I don't want to see Pittsburgh win anything.
Yeah, well.
All right, Bree, you have one game to change. One game. What are you changing?
It's the helmet catch game for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. It's.
That was-
I mean, like as much as it would have been awesome to see Brady win the Eagles Super Bowl, throwing for over 500 yards and everything like that for him would have been great. But as a Patriots fan, having that 19-0 just would have been like the highlight of my life, I feel like, as a sports fan. So that for sure, it was something I would change. That's the game I would change.
I'm going to bring up a game that I think was rigged. I think the refs were paid off. I think Ed Hockley, that bastard, was giving the Steelers free first downs. And that was the Jets-Steelers AFC Championship game in 2010. Okay, it was almost actually going back. I got the date here. It was almost literally 10 years ago from last week's date. The Jets were robbed. I think Tim Donaghy had some money on the line here, guys and gals. There was something going on because the Steelers weren't – watch that game. They were not getting first downs. It was like 2 yards away. Hockley just grabs it. First down. Like, it was ridiculous, the whole game. Rashard Mendenhall's 3 yards short first down. They weren't even measuring at a point. They were not measuring. Go watch that game, Jets fans. That was the biggest hoax of a game. I want an investigation on that game. Seriously. Forget what Congress is doing right now. Go investigate that freaking game because Tim Donaghy had some money on the line there. I'm convinced.
Hey, was that the year that the Jets got bailed out from Nate Kading missing all of the kicks the previous round, or was that 2009?
I think that was that year.
Okay, because that's another game that it's not Rivers' fault that Nate Kading, one of the more accurate kickers of his era, just shanks 3 field goals and they lose in overtime.
Yeah, that's true. Back to the Jets, just like I love it. Let's just have a Jets show. Let's go.
Oh,
Mark
man.
Sanchez thoughts? What do we got?
Oh,
Hey.
long live the butt fumble.
Ooh, I was doing some research the other day about Brady and Rodgers in the NFC title game. For a long time, Mark Sanchez held the PFF record for passing grade in a conference championship game. It was only
Are you
broken.
serious?
Yeah, until Matt Ryan's 2016 game when he dropped his nuts on Aaron Rodgers. Mark Sanchez was the cream of the crop.
Damn, that's interesting. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, that's if you told me to guess, Mark Sanchez would probably be like the 54th name I come up with. So
Yeah, I'm with you there.
So-
I was never a big Sanchez fan, but by the way, someone had asked a question before, and I just want to answer it. What weird rumors are we hearing, or am I hearing about Watson to the Jets? All I've heard was that the Jets are not yet convinced that they want to give up as much draft capital as they have without doing their diligence yet on Fields and Wilson. So the Jets want to know if they have something with Fields and Wilson to not give up those plethora of picks that they have. And then they'll be able to make a decision whether or not they want to go after Watson. But the Jets are a little bit nervous, speaking to some people, because they don't want someone else to jump in, because as you're hearing now, the Bears are calling the Texans, the Chargers, not the Chargers, the Bears are calling the Texans. The Dolphins have called the Texans. Apparently the Rams are looking at maybe doing something with Watson too, I heard. So those are some rumors out there, but the Jets don't yet want to give everything up, the farm, if they like Wilson or even Fields, although Fields seems more unlikely at this point. So they're trying to do their diligence, but they know they're against some clock where a team might come in with an offer. And the Texans want to get rid of Watson if he's definitely out, because they want to start moving on and figuring out what's next for them. The sooner this thing all gets done for the Texans and all parties, the better it is for all parties involved. The Jets are at a bit of a push-pull because, again, they have these picks. So you're not just – I would say just do it. Don't worry about it. But the Jets want to do their diligence on Wilson and Fields before they pull that plug. And they're going to have other offers for two. People want Sewell. People may want Fields or at two. So maybe you'll get a plethora, even more than you have, of picks, and you can really establish a winning team moving forward. So that's what I've been hearing. That's why it seems a little bit like the Jets aren't necessarily the front runners, although Vegas has them right now as the front runners to land Watson if he doesn't stay in Houston, which it seems like at this point he's not.
Right. All right. Well, you just brought up the Rams, and that brings us into our first quickfire question from the app. And that is, what should the Rams do at quarterback? You heard that line, Jared Goff is the quarterback, is a Ram for now, or at the moment, or whatever the hell the direct quote was. It doesn't seem like it's set in stone for his future. So what do you think that their future at quarterback should be?
Well, I'll just jump in. I think they stay with Jared Goff. I think you have to. He's proven he can get you to a Super Bowl. He's efficient. He executes McVay's offense. McVay dials up all the right cards. You know this guy can come out there and just do what you want him to do. Is he great, Jared Goff? Absolutely not. But is he manageable? Is he a cog in this system? Yes. And can he get you to a Super Bowl? Yes. Last year. Or 2 years ago, excuse me. So, yes, he's your guy. So I think you just stick with the process and you see what happens. You can't find quarterbacks on trees, so he's not someone that you could just replace right away. And the Rams are a bit in a win now situation. They're not in a good salary spot. So what are they going to do? Start rebuilding and with what? You have all this money tied up in so many areas. You can't just pull the plug right now. It's not smart.
Right.
I think you absolutely have a quarterback competition between Goff and Wolford. I know Goff has the higher, floor, but I think Wolford can do a lot of things. We saw it against Arizona, granted not the best defense ever, and we saw a little bit against Seattle in the wild card game, again, not the greatest defense ever. I think Wolford can do some nice things with his legs, and I think that's something that McVay can say, I don't have to worry about my number one overall pick not being the best quarterback in the history of sports. I can scheme up with Wolford, and it's like, say, the 2018 Ravens with Lamar. Lamar's not there yet, but you can do stuff with him that you can't really do with Goff. And I think there's a clear distinction between a guy that should be a star quarterback, your number 1 overall pick, and a guy that was an XFL backup or AAF backup, wherever he came from, you have lower expectations, and I think that can unleash McVay a little bit.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like the whole quarterback carousel this offseason is going to be insane, absolutely insane.
Yeah,
and
so
I saw Schefter tweeted out a graphic the other day that it was like 18 quarterbacks could potentially be on the move.
wow.
That's nuts. When was the last time that we had an offseason like that, where there's so much uncertainty from every corner of the league at arguably the most important position in team sports? It's crazy.
Yeah, it's true.
All right, second question, bringing in some NBA topics. Bradley Beal, poor Bradley Beal, is stuck on the Wizards, and it's like no man's land there. He's just drowning. Where is the best destination for him right now? Because he's putting up unreal numbers. He's just in no man's land. Where is the best destination for him?
I think the best place for Bradley Beal to go is to a hospital to get his head checked. Because remember, he signed the contract to keep him in Washington. Like, people sometimes forget about that. Oh, free Bradley Beal. He signed the contract. He willingly signed a contract with the Washington Wizards. We talked about the Chargers being cursed. The Wizards are up there. But in terms of like basketball cities, Miami is the one that jumps out, although they don't want to part ways with Tyler Hero. I think there's a legitimate conversation in Miami. Would you rather have Michael Jordan or Tyler Hero? I think they would choose Tyler Hero.
Oh, come on.
Ooh, they love them some Tyler
They love
Hero.
Tyler Hero, though. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them.
That's not real, though. Are you just like being dramatic, or is that a real argument that they're having
I'm
down
being
there?
dramatic.
I was going to say, what the hell?
Yeah, I mean,
No, they love Tyler Hero in Miami.
always,
He fits their culture perfectly. They're not going to move on from him. It's non-negotiable for them, I think.
That's
it's
crazy.
all about that Heat culture. You know, Hero was a piece that would have been in a theoretical James Harden trade. Miami was like, we like Tyler Hero, which is so strange that you get this automatic superstar, but you want to keep Tyler Hero. I don't know.
I have the perfect team. I have the one team that Bradley Beal should go to. And if he doesn't go there, this team's going to fall apart in 1 year. They're done. The Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks, if they want to keep Giannis there, they need to get Bradley Beal. So the Bucks, do what you need to do. Get rid of Chris Middleton, get rid of Drew Holiday, get rid of some first-round picks, bring in Bradley Beal. Giannis can't really shoot. So you have Bradley Beal on the outside. You have Giannis dominating like he does. That's a perfect destination, because if you don't make it happen, the Bucks are screwed. Giannis is going to leave, and their championship window's closed. It's over.
That's interesting.
The Bucks is an interesting one. I like Dallas as well. If you put Luka and
yeah, it's interesting too. And they'll probably want him to go out west too. They're probably not going to want him to stay in the east. So that would actually make more sense, honestly.
The only thing you just got to remember with this whole thing is the money. Like, who the hell wants to take on all of that money?
It's true.
Yeah. Although Beal is averaging 35 points a game, and he's a guy that he's going to pour in your points, and he plays solid defense for the most part. And he's not like a Trae Young ball hog sort of guy.
Yeah. All right, we're back to the quarterback questions, because like I said, this offseason is just going to be banana land when it comes to the quarterbacks. And I just mentioned money. The New Orleans Saints are in like cap hell, and they need a quarterback because Drew Brees is done. He hasn't officially announced retirement, but all signs are pointing to him calling it a career. So what are they going to do at quarterback? Are they going to stick with Taysom Hill? Are they going to try to talk Jameis up into the starting role, which I hope not. But what is their best option at the quarterback position?
I think you stick with Taysom Hill, or you give the keys to Taysom Hill. By the way, I said this on the app a while ago, and I got so much hate on it. I don't know. People just love to hate, I guess, or love to hate me for some reason. It's okay. I'm not going anywhere. Not anytime soon, at least. Actually, next week I'm off the show because Brianna was off last week. Nick's off this week. I'm not going to come on the show next week. I don't feel like doing it next week.
It's Super Bowl week. You have to. The next
I'm
week.
not doing it. Yeah. Okay. Deal. I'm going to take you up on that because you're the boss here. So, Taysom Hill should have been playing the entire season into the playoffs. The Saints made a mistake. Breeze was done. Did you see Breeze? He couldn't throw the ball more than 5 yards the last game. He's getting hit, noodle arm. He was garbage. Why is that? Why are you rubbing your head? What's so bad about that? If the Saints would have played Taysom Hill the full rest of the season and the playoffs, they would have had a shot to have some spark of energy to win the Super Bowl. They were not going to win with Breeze, which you can see was exactly what happened. They could have brought some different dimension to the game. Did you even see the receivers when Taysom was playing, how Sanders was all giddy and just ready to kind of get going? I mean, they should have stuck with Taysom. Why not? So they weren't going to win with Breeze. They literally, when you put Breeze back in, you're saying, oh, we'll be just good enough to maybe make it to the Super Bowl. You should have stuck with Taysom the entire season. Breeze was done, and it's evident by his play, and you may have done something differently. The differentiator factor, y'all. Remember, differentiator in life. You want to differentiate. Don't be like everyone else. The Saints wanted to be like they were 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Be different. You may have pulled a rabbit out of a hat, which is what they needed to win the Super Bowl anyway. That's it.
I can't even put into words. This isn't an anti-Taysom Hill narrative. He played pretty well.
Yeah, there is one out there.
But you know who in that locker room, who's a better quarterback than Taysom Hill?
Do not say
Winston. Jameis Winston. You can say all you want about the 30 interceptions he threw in Tampa. He would not do that in New Orleans. I would bet lots of money that Jameis Winston, if given the same number of pass attempts he had in 2019 with Tampa, he would not throw 30 interceptions because I trust Sean Payton. And that's one reason that, again, I don't think it's an anti-Taysom Hill narrative, at least not for me. For other people, sure, absolutely. But I think what Sean Payton does is he gets the most out of talent. So he gets the most out of Drew Brees. If Drew Brees, say, went to Miami, he's probably not a GOAT contender, if you will. But if you're Jameis Winston, hey, he's probably more talented than Drew Brees ever was. Let's be real here. I think Sean Payton can squeeze some magic, some that crab leg stealing goodness out of Jameis Winston. And I think if Jameis Winston had started the entire season, we're watching the Saints next Sunday, not Tampa Bay. Because the Saints roster is so talented from top to bottom, and you get a guy in Jameis that it may make more mistakes than Breeze, but he's not going to make the, just arcing ball into Devin White. Jameis isn't making that throw. He's making a much better throw. He's making a more on-time throw there. And as great as Breeze was at anticipating open windows, I get it. He was phenomenal this year, despite having the arm strength of a cow. You're talking Jameis is one of the most talented quarterbacks in the last 10 years, the last 15 years.
Are you okay over there, man? You all right?
Yeah,
Is that a Braves hat?
Yes, sir.
You're a Braves fan?
Yeah, I'm from Atlanta.
Oh, I'm like, I didn't know if you were all right because you're wearing a Ravens shirt, a Braves hat. I saw you last time you were wearing a Cavs hat. I'm like, where's this kid from, honestly?
Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you're from. Jameis Winston, I think, is a superior option to Taysom Hill. No disrespect to Taysom Hill. I just don't think he's as good as Jameis Winston. He can probably start, I think, in other places, although Sean Payton does make life easier as a quarterback.
You realize Jameis Winston can't move, though, right? He literally has no.
He can move more than Breeze.
Ability.
He got corrective eye surgery, so you don't know how much of a factor that's going to play into it.
Okay, that's true.
Also, isn't Taysom Hill 30?
It might be 31 now.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's
31.
Yeah.
Taysom Hill brought some energy, though. For the first time when he came in, I felt like the Saints were something new and there was energy behind their team. I mean,
I'm not arguing. I'm just asking questions.
Okay. What would you do, Miss Questions? What would you?
Isn't there a stat out there that backup quarterbacks are undefeated when they come in for Drew Brees in the last 2 years? Right? Didn't Teddy Bridgewater go undefeated and then Taysom Hill? I don't know. I mean, that, like I said before, though, they're in absolute cap hell. They need to, from top to bottom, either adjust some contracts, let some people go that they might not want to let go of just to keep themselves good with the cap. I don't know, to be completely honest with you, I don't know what any of these teams that need a quarterback are going to do because there are so many available. There's so many different needs that need to be met. Some people have money, some don't. Some have less than no money. This whole thing's a mess. And you don't know what the rookies are going to end up doing, where they're going to go. I don't want to make predictions because every time I make predictions, it comes back and it bites me in the ass. So I'm not going to do it. All I know is that I don't think it's going to be Taysom Hill. So
I'll say one last thing about Taysom Hill. For people that say he can't throw the ball, he had 291 yards his last game playing. The game before that, he had 232. He had 2 touchdowns in both those games. He had 2 rushing touchdowns in each of the previous 2. What else do you want the guy to do? And I like his game. Maybe he's not a prototypical guy for certain offenses, but I think with Sean Payton there, I think you can make things happen. The league's different. The league isn't what it used to be. It's becoming, I was saying it to Nick a little bit ago, it's becoming somewhat of like a flag football-ish kind of league. It's more about speed, getting to the outside. You can run some gimmicky stuff. It's like Splash, your guy, Lamar Jackson. Mm-hmm. I think if Lamar lived in the 90s, let's say, he wouldn't have been able to find a home like he did. There wouldn't be play calls, wouldn't be as creative. It'd be more of a prototypical, West Coast 3-step drop or 7-step drop back. So I think with Taysom, you can do some things. And if he can win, just keep riding it out. It's something different, I think. But Frankie, who do you think would have given the Saints a better chance to come back 2 weeks ago, Winston or Hill? 2 weeks, probably Winston. I think you need a game plan with Hill. So Taysom Hill, you need him to come in, have practice the week, have some things ready to go. So I think if you're talking about just purely from a backup quarterback perspective, just throwing a backup in, Winston, he can run all the same plays that Breeze on offense that Breeze is running. But when you're talking about like winning and trying to get to that chip, I think you can do some cool things with Taysom. He may get exposed, though, against a great defense, but we'll see. I mean, we'll see what I would give Taysom one more shot. I don't see – he's earned it, in my opinion. He hasn't not. He played as well as he could. He didn't play badly.
Yeah, I think the thing with Taysom is that I'm not trying to hate on Taysom. I think he's a talented guy. He can do a lot of things really well, and he even impressed me as a passer. I had him as a top 12 quarterback when he played. But the issue, I think Jameis Winston's just better at football, and I think you can do more of what you want to do if you're New Orleans. Now, granted, you put Taysom Hill in other spots, say if you move him to Baltimore, I think Baltimore's still a pretty solid team. He's not quite Lamar, but he does a lot of good things for the offense. I just think Winston gives you a higher floor, absolutely higher floor, and I think you generally would win more games with Jameis. Nothing against Taysom Hill. I think he's a top. I think he's a starting-ish caliber quarterback. I need to see more than 3 games or 4 games in a Sean Payton system, to be fair. But I think I don't think a team would give him like a free reign as a starter because he's 30, 31. But in like a hypothetical universe that he's 25, I think he could be a viable potential starting quarterback. I just think Jameis is better.
Fair enough.
Interesting. That's fair. I mean, those are good points. I'll talk system football anytime. So. All right.
The Brady jokes are coming. Jokes are coming.
Yeah, that's all right. I read the comments while we're going through this. I see what they say. What's going on in Dallas? Can we talk about them for a second?
Nice. I like that.
Who's to blame? Is Jerry Jones kind of going insane? Does he need to just pay Dak and just get it over with? What the hell is that? Because they are so much worse than they should be. What do you think?
Yeah. I think the hire of Mike McCarthy was just not a good hire. I think for some teams it made sense, but for Dallas, for the exposure that team gets, you need a coach with a little bit of flair. Funny story, I have a friend, Chris. He's probably watching. He just got COVID, and I almost went to his house on Sunday. So I would have not been here. It would have been a great show for you guys. But I was actually an hour away, and then he told me he got COVID. He did a swab, and I didn't go. But I said, Chris, what do you think of Mike McCarthy? And he's like, he's a huge Cowboys fan. He's very positive about the Cowboys. Cowboys can't do wrong. And he goes, he's just a fat guy. That was like the way he described him was he's just a fat guy. I was like, that's a great way to describe Mike McCarthy. But he really is. He's just like just a fat guy, He's just a guy who's just does what he has to do. He's not really a Cowboys kind of coach. The Cowboys need Saleh would have been great, for example, as a Cowboys coach, a guy with some flair, some energy. Come in to Dallas. Let's go. Let's get this party started and let's do the Big D thing. And Mike McCarthy's just a coach. He's nothing special. You see what he did with Green Bay. Not much. He did win a Super Bowl, but wasn't the right fit. And it's not his fault. That's Jerry Jones's fault. I think Jerry Jones is over analyzing what he does. He's trying to be GM. He's making all these hires and affecting the game. They need to find a real GM, someone that knows football. They have the talent. They can win games, Dallas. There's no reason that the Dallas Cowboys weren't in the playoffs this year. None at all. It's inexcusable. And they should have fired Nolan. They should have fired him after a few weeks. You saw the defense was that bad. Just cut your losses. The division was so bad. You could have made a playoff run. You could have done something. So they made a big mistake, Dallas, with how they executed this year. It was a really bad season for them. I think it was one of their worst seasons in a while from top to bottom.
I absolutely agree with just about everything you said. If you're the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, you need one thing. That's swagger. Mike McCarthy is like, if you looked up in the dictionary for an antonym of swagger, it's Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
Genuinely, like any coach in college, any coach ever has more like swagger, more Dallas personality than Mike McCarthy. Are you kidding me? You didn't offer it to any number of other guys. I'm not sure who all they interviewed, but Mike McCarthy, that's the least enticing option. If I'm a Dallas Cowboy player and you're living in Dallas, you have the star on your helmet, you have, like, if you're CeeDee Lamb now, 88 on your chest, why would you want to play for Mike McCarthy? You pick any quarter or any coach ever, and I think you have more success than Dallas had this year. And I just think, like Juju said, the Browns were like the same gray faces, right? Imagine coming into the locker room. It's Monday morning, you just lost, and you have to look at Mike McCarthy for 6 hours. I think I would quit. I think I would rip up my contract in front of Jerry Jones and just leave the facility and just hope that, I guess, another team with a coach with more swagger. Like, are you kidding me? Like, Saleh would be perfect. Urban Meyer would be perfect. Sirianni, Dan Campbell, literally any coach would be perfect. Like, I could even Bill Belichick. At least he has like this intensity. I think Mike McCarthy is just a guy. Just a guy. He's not a dude like Campbell. He's just a guy that knows football. He tried to be cute with all the fourth downs, and I'm an analytics guy, but he's like, oh yeah, it's 4th and 2, let's go for it. No matter what context.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, there was no feel for the game. It was just if it was 4th and 2, they're going to go for it because it's 4th and 2. I like what Alec is saying here. I think promoting Kellen Moore would have been great. Someone that was in the system, someone that really gets how to call plays. And the game's so much about calling plays now. If you don't have either an offensive-minded head coach or an offensive coordinator who knows what they're doing, you're going to struggle in today's NFL. It's not like it used to be. It's a much different game. There was a time in the NFL where if you just had a great offensive line and a decent enough running back with experience, you needed a rah-rah head coach and an offensive coordinator that even if they called a conservative game, you could win with just those ingredients. Now it's different. Now you need creativity. There's so much speed involved in the game. And, not to bring up the Pats, Brianna, but that was where the Pats sort of fell short this year. They just didn't have the weapons, the scheme.
They didn't have to be anything, if we're being completely honest.
Yeah, that's pretty true. But.
Like, I love my Pats. I'll defend them till the day I die. They didn't have anything going right this year. So no offense taken whatsoever.
Yeah, Cam did look good that first game, though. I was a little bit worried. I'm like, wow, that's Auburn Cam right there. I was that was a flash in the pan, though. He was shot after that.
It was a tease. It was as much of a tease as a tease could get. But back to the Cowboys. How about Lincoln Riley? I feel like his name has been linked to this team for so long. Can they just not pull him out of college?
He gets paid a lot at Oklahoma. Let's be real here. But
then think of all the publicity you get as the coach of America's team, quote unquote America's team.
He doesn't want to. I don't know why he doesn't. He has no interest. Apparently, they've been trying to pluck him out of.
Which is fair. Like if it's not broke, don't fix it. But I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, I have a thought. What if you're Dallas, Jerry Jones, you go to New Orleans? How much would you trade to get Sean Payton?
Trade a first-round pick.
Yeah.
Why not? It doesn't happen though. That's very rare. I mean, those.
I feel like if it were to happen though, it would be more than a first. I don't think you can just.
Yeah, no, it would be more than a first. I agree.
Say, hey, give me your head coach. I don't think that would work.
I don't know.
Well, we were saying it last show. There were a few years ago, Sean Payton was rumored with Dallas when he was out for the season with that whole scandal they had. He was actually talking with Dallas and maybe going to get out of his contract and go play and go coach the Cowboys, but that didn't happen. How about get Belichick over in Dallas? Dallas gives you guys a few first-round picks. You guys need them.
No, because that means Josh McDaniels.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Hey, at least it's better than Matt Patricia.
Yeah, him coming back is just I don't know.
Speaking of just a fat guy, Matt Patricia.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had the pencil and then the laminated play card. It's like, what are you doing?
I don't know. For a guy that's so goddamn smart, literal rocket scientist, and he thinks a pencil can write on a laminated sheet of paper. I don't know. All right, last one, and then we're wrapping it up because we've been on here for way too long.
And then you have to talk about your Tampa trip, at least.
Yes, and then I'll tease
the shirts.
Yes. So, Phoenix Suns. We're back to the NBA. The Western Conference is always tough, but are the Phoenix Suns legit playoff contenders or are they pretenders? It's tough.
Okay, I'll take this one first.
This one.
I said before the season, shout out to the group chat boys, that DeAndre Ayton would be the best center in the NBA this year, or second to Joel Embiid. I don't remember how I had it. And I think Phoenix has all the talent in the world. You know, Booker, CP3, Ayton. I think you have like three legitimate, I don't want to say superstars, but pretty doggone close. And they're going to be a team that is week or day in, day out. They're going to be competitive. And I think if they're a 7 seed, they're a lively 7 seed. You know, we've seen 7 seeds in the past that just kind of roll over and die. Looking at you, Brooklyn, a couple years ago. Looking at you, Orlando, a couple years ago. But I think this is a lively Suns team. They went 8-0 in a bubble, 8-0 in the bubble for a reason. Monty Williams has them playing really well. I have this ticker right. They're not quite on the ticker, but they're a game away from being on the ticker.
I'm going pretender. I like what they're about. I'm a big Booker fan. I like that they have Paul, but they're missing something. I don't know. They play I don't know if it's playoff basketball, although they did go undefeated in the bubble last year. There's something's missing from that team. I can't see them really making a run. And the West is tough, man. You know how those playoff games go. They're slow pace. It's tough D. I don't know if they're going to be able to play that grind out sort of Western Conference ball that you see in the playoffs. So plus they're going to be matched up with who? The Lakers or the Jazz in the first round if they make an 8 or 7 seed. Are they going to get out of that? They need to really win and rattle off 8 out of 10 or something and get themselves in a 5-6 spot so that they miss the Lakers, Jazz, and Clippers, or else they're screwed. They're not going to be able to beat those teams. They'll have a few good nights, I'm sure. They'll be able to drop 120, 125 and beat a good top 4 Western Conference team, but they need to get into that 5 or 6 spot or they're not going to make the playoffs. I also want to say I wasn't fat shaming. I was quoting my friend who called Mike McCarthy just a fat guy, and I used it for. I'm not shaming. Trust me, I'm pretty fat myself, so I don't. It's okay. I'm not fat shaming, guys. All right, so don't. I love everybody. All right. It's better to be fat than skinny, in my opinion. So, all right. Just sorry. I didn't mean to make people feel uncomfortable.
You're not allowed to say anything nowadays without upsetting somebody. It's fine.
Yeah, I know. You have to be careful. I need to be a little more careful.
Oh, man. We've been on here for an hour. That's way too long.
Speaking of, Bree, tell them about your trip. You're getting the solo spot. All right, everyone. If you don't know, the Big Bree, is going to Tampa for the Super Bowl.
I will be in Tampa next weekend. My goal is to get as much fan content as I possibly can. I think our plan is for me to take over the Instagram for Super Bowl morning. And I will be downtown, try to scope out what's happening, get some fan interaction, kind of see how people are feeling for the game. Because as we all know, Florida doesn't really care when it comes to COVID. So things are relatively normal. And that's it. I don't know. Hopefully some good weather and good football. So I will be in Tampa and we'll figure it out from there. Just kind of going to wing it.
Let's see the shirts. You got to get the shirts.
So I made shirts for this trip real quick before we go. And
we might start selling these on uSTADIUM. Oh, that's a badass shirt right there.
You got the computer. Yes, sir.
Bleach dye. And then I got the creamsicle.
That's the daytime party shirt right there.
Yeah. This is the day drink shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, all it takes is a little bit of bleach and a nice colored t-shirt and you can make things happen. So
that's what Sammy Sosa said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
oh, God.
hey,
Oh, my God.
Store.
Oh,
sorry.
Anyway, we got to get out of here. This is too long.
Yeah, it's way too long.
We've had enough. All right. Next week.
It's
Super
on
Bowl
next week if I decide to come on. I'm still contemplating it.
Yeah.
By the way, if anyone out there, we are doing a giveaway for the Super Bowl. We don't know exactly what it is, but it's going to be really big. So make sure you're checking out the uSTADIUM app often. You're looking at the ticker. A new update's coming through relatively soon. It's going to restructure how the app flows. It'll be a lot better. And yeah, check in, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. And yeah, big announcement. We said it last week, but Hunter Henry will be doing a show on the uSTADIUM Live YouTube. He'll be going live, I think, once every 2 weeks. So yeah, make sure you tune in for that. He'll be announcing his signing through uSTADIUM. Yeah, and a lot of big things to come. And yeah, we'll be back next week. Let's get it.
See you later.
Peace.